They didn't just take a few feet of gravel, they took something I had spent my entire adult life working to own outright, and the wildest part was they truly believed I'd just accept it and move on. If you've ever had someone smile while slowly shifting a fence across your property line, then you already know the feeling. It's not just anger, it starts with disbelief, then settles into this quiet kind of insult that sits in your chest and refuses to leave. I bought my place 9 years ago when interest rates were still reasonable and the neighborhood felt like the kind of place where people borrowed sugar instead of calling lawyers. It's a corner lot in a working-class area just outside Columbus, Ohio, nothing fancy at all. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a detached garage that leans a bit when the wind hits it just right, and a wide gravel driveway that curves along the side yard before opening up behind the house. That driveway was the main reason I bought the place. I run a small landscaping business, nothing huge, just me and a couple of guys during the busy season. A pickup truck, a trailer, mowers, mulch deliveries, stacks of stone. That wraparound driveway let me park everything without blocking the street or bothering anyone. I always kept it clean, no junk lying around, no oil stains, and I took pride in that for years without a single complaint. Then the Callaways moved in next door. Brent and Elise, mid-40s, always dressed sharp, matching silver SUVs, the kind of couple that looks like they walked straight out of a home renovation ad. They bought the old Ramirez house for almost double what it sold for 5 years earlier, and within weeks the upgrade started. New siding, black-framed windows, a bright stone front, perfectly trimmed bushes. I remember standing at my mailbox one evening when Brent came over for the first time, crisp polo shirt, loafers without socks, hands stretched out like we were closing a deal. He introduced himself and said they were excited to elevate the feel of the neighborhood. Elevate was the word he used. I told him my name, welcomed him, and he glanced at my truck and trailer, asking if I ran a business from home. I told him it kept me busy, and he smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. He said we'd all work together to keep things looking clean, and I should have picked up on the tone right then. Over the next couple of months, little comments started drifting over the fence, not direct at first, just loud enough to hear. Remarks about my truck being too big, questions about equipment being left outside, hints about neighborhood standards that didn't even exist. There was no HOA, that's part of why I chose this place, but Brent clearly wished there was. The real issue came one Saturday when they hosted a dinner party. Cars filled their driveway and spilled onto the street, and when I got home from work, one of their guests had parked halfway into my driveway. I knocked, keeping things calm, and Elise answered holding a glass of wine. I explained the situation, and she called Brent over. He showed up already annoyed and said it was just for a few hours, that they had limited space. I pointed out that they had their own driveway and this one was mine. He gave me that tight smile and said my driveway extended pretty far toward their side, then asked if I was sure about the boundary. That's when something shifted, something that felt like a warning. A week later, orange cones appeared along the edge of my gravel, placed exactly where Brent seemed to think the line was. I stepped out, stared at them for a while, then calmly moved them onto his lawn. 10 minutes later, he was at my door suggesting that part of my driveway should be shared since I had plenty of space and they needed overflow parking. I told him it wasn't shared, it was clearly deeded. He claimed they had someone look at it and said that section might actually belong to them. I told him to show me the survey, and when he said it was still being finalized, I knew he didn't have one. His smile disappeared, and that's when things stopped being neighborly. A week later, I left early for work and came back to find fresh asphalt laid over a section of my gravel, about 10 feet wide, smoothly connected to their driveway like it had always been part of it. And cutting across my side yard was a brand new black metal fence, sitting a full 8 feet inside what I knew was my property. I sat in my truck for a moment, trying to convince myself I was seeing it wrong, but the truth settled in quickly. They didn't ask, didn't wait, just built over it. I went straight to their door, and Elise answered again, calm as ever, saying Brent had it surveyed and that portion was theirs now. I asked for the survey, and she brushed me off, suggesting I check my own documents. That night, I pulled out every paper I had, the deed, the plot map, the official survey with marked corners. I even walked the line and found the original markers exactly where they should be. Brent had just assumed I wouldn't push back. I called him the next morning and gave him 48 hours to remove the asphalt and fence. He laughed and told me to call a lawyer if I had a problem. Something about hearing that in my own driveway flipped a switch in me, so I did call a lawyer. While the legal process slowly got started, Brent treated that strip like he owned it, parking his SUV there every day and guiding guests onto it like it was his new extension. That's when I realized something important. Even with his fence and asphalt, the land was still legally mine, which meant I could use it. So I did. The first time was with a large mulch delivery. I had the truck dump it right onto that section, completely blocking his access. He came storming out, furious, but I calmly pointed out that it was my property. He called the police, but they couldn't do anything. The mulch stayed there for days. When I finally moved it, he looked relieved, but that didn't last long. Next came a massive pile of gravel, then pallets of materials, even my trailer parked across it whenever I felt like it. It became a daily reminder that ownership still mattered. The tension between us grew heavier by the day. Then he filed a lawsuit, claiming I was causing problems and damaging his property. I took it straight to my lawyer, who smiled and said it would actually speed things up. We filed back for trespass and demanded everything be restored. Around that time, I added one more move, placing a portable toilet right on that strip, facing their patio. It stayed there for weeks, becoming a symbol of the whole situation. Eventually, the court date arrived. Brent walked in confident, but that didn't last long. His so-called survey turned out to be nothing more than a rough sketch, not official at all. The judge wasn't impressed and ruled clearly in my favor, ordering full restoration, removal of the asphalt and fence, and payment of my legal fees. Brent looked completely defeated. Over the next month, everything was torn out. The fence came down, the asphalt was broken apart, and my gravel driveway was restored. Watching it happen didn't feel like victory, it felt like balance returning. These days, things are quiet again. We're civil, but not friendly. And sometimes when I back my trailer down that driveway, I think about how close I came to letting it go, how easy it would have been to ignore it. 10 feet doesn't sound like much until it is. Because giving that up might have led to something bigger. In the end, it wasn't just about gravel, it was about standing my ground. Now I'm curious what you think. Did I take it too far, or was it justified? If someone took part of your property and dared you to fight it, would you stay quiet or make sure they felt every inch of it? Let me know, because situations like this always spark strong opinions.